is CNN Breaking News.
We have breaking news on multiple stories across the country and around the world. This is CNN Tonight. I'm Don Lemon. We appreciate you joining us this evening. North Korea launching a missile over northern Japan tonight. President Trump briefed on this latest provocation from Pyongyang. That just hours after the president, flying back from the storm zone, waded right back into the political storm over the Charlottesville neo-Nazi controversy, insisting there were, his words, bad dudes on both sides, but also signing a joint resolution in Charlottesville that condemns white nationalists, white supremacists, the Ku Klux Klan, neo-Nazis, and other hate groups. That, as the controversy heats up tonight over ESPN's Jemele Hill calling President Trump a white supremacist. A lot to get to tonight and to discuss, but I want to begin with North Korea, that North Korea launch tonight of a missile that flew over northern Japan. Joining me now, CNN international correspondent Will Ripley, live for us in Tokyo. Will, thank you so much for joining us evening here, morning there, or noon in Tokyo. What are you learning about this latest launch from North Korea tonight?
Well, it flew a very long distance, Don, more than 2,300 miles, and this trajectory, while it took it over northern Japan, had the missile been pointed in a southerly direction, that would have taken it very close to the U.S. territory of Guam. So North Korea demonstrating here that they have the capability, they have a reliable missile that they have now shot twice over northern Japan, but if they were to point it south, obviously a very strong message for the United States and its allies. We know that just after the North Korean launch, perhaps seconds after, South Korea, who has been waiting for a missile launch of this kind, they launched their own missile in response, a ballistic missile that they say could easily take out North Korea's launch sites. This launch site was actually in their capital of Pyongyang, a city that I just woke up in yesterday. I flew from the same airport area where this missile was launched from, and pretty surreal to come from the country launching these missiles and then to wake up here in Japan, where people once again, Don, were hearing air raid sirens and getting frightening text messages telling them to take cover in sturdy buildings.
Yeah, and as you said, you were just there, your 15th trip to the country, by the way, so there were signs that another launch was imminent, correct?
We expected a launch potentially to happen a week ago for North Korea's Foundation Day holiday. We were in the country. There was military intelligence indicating activity at the launch site, so we were on standby, ready to go. But then a thick fog rolled into Pyongyang. It was zero visibility, and I knew at that point that if they were going to be launching from Pyongyang, it wasn't going to happen on that morning, because for North Korea, there's scientific value that they gain from these launches. They send a political and military message, but it's also for propaganda, and you can't have propaganda about a missile launch if they don't have good pictures. And we know that they will have dozens of cameras pointed at this missile, and North Korea will be releasing those images in the coming hours. And so, yeah, it's all about the showmanship, isn't it? I mean, this missile was never intended to strike a city, but it was intended to strike fear in the people that it flew over, and it certainly did accomplish that, Don.
Well, this missile and the last missile both came uncomfortably close to Japan. You're in Tokyo. Are people scared there?
People are, I wouldn't say they're at the level of being scared, but here in Japan, certainly people are nervous. This is the first time since World War II that Japanese school children are hearing air raid sirens and being told of what to do in the event of an attack. I mean, brings back horrific memories for this country that was targeted by 2 nuclear bombs, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, a country that is really scarred by those events, now having to prepare its citizens for the possibility of a nuclear attack. And in fact, even at my apartment, we received a letter telling us what to do if there were an attack. So that is certainly reviving old fears, a return to history that is unwelcome for people here in Japan. In South Korea and North Korea, the areas that would stand to actually suffer the most in any conflict, people are much more laid back on. This is a threat that they've lived with.